Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Semi-original guy here, aka Mr. Cannon from Advance Wars by Web, bringing you a brand new replay today, episode 2 of the live league game of the day. Now today we have Alastor7 versus Duci, or Duci. I'm gonna say Duci. I believe it's Duci. All right, two fairly good players, I would say, at least rated between the 1150 to maybe even 1300 level at points in their careers on Advance Wars by Web. So very good players, I would say, very mid-range, high mid-range for sure. Now in the live league, like we said, global league rating doesn't necessarily apply to live league because you have to think on your feet. You don't have a week to plan your moves. Now both players have decided to pick Andy for this one. As we know, Andy, the healing expert of Advance Wars by Web. What a CO. Now he does not get any day-to-day abilities, unfortunately. All of his units are base across the board, but what he does get is access to his co-power and his super co-power. Now his co-power, hyper repair, will heal his units by 2 HP globally, which in its own right can be a fairly good power situationally. You never know when healing 2 HP on a unit might make or break the game. Never know, folks. Plus it can counter global damage pretty good. So, you know, it is what it is there, folks. But hyper upgrade, now that's what everybody waits for when it comes to Andy. Healing 5 HP globally, increasing that movement by 1, and giving a slight firepower bonus. So it's a very, very good super co-power. One of the best super co-powers in the game, in my opinion. If Andy had any sort of day-to-day ability, that would just make him way, way more powerful. Like, imagine if Andy actually had a buff where he had like 10% defense or something. It would make him insanely powerful when it comes to those heals. But sadly, Andy only gets a day-to-day of nothing, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, today, it's going to be a pretty good one. I can't remember the name of this map. It's like Siltitionation, blah, 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 something like that. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into this one. I thought it was a pretty cool matchup. A little bit unexpected stuff here. Now this map, it's base light, so you know, I think Andy is a pretty good pick here. There's not going to be a lot of units. There's going to be air units, ground units, and he's good. You know, he's a pretty good pick for this one. The only other person that I could see maybe being an okay pick for this map would be maybe Rachel, but I think Rachel might actually be a tier ahead of Andy when it comes to live league. We'll have to double check that, but for this pick, this map, I think Andy is pretty good. Alright, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this one and see exactly what happened. Now, as you guys know, on the first 2 days, it's always those standard infantry builds. You gotta get the infantry on the field, folks. #1 priority all the time. Alright, so both players going for their neutral properties, and a little bit of an interesting move here from Alastor. So we go up, we cap that, we bring this down here. I guess there's not really anything out of the ordinary with that. Now, Duci decides to do a little bit of a different move over here, so not really anything out of the ordinary right now. Now, for this map, these properties across this line here, like the properties on this island here and the properties on this island right here, are very, very contested. Like, very, very contested. When you're in a situation where it's one base versus like one base, it's it gets pretty dicey. You know, it gets a little bit stally, but we have a lot of potential for front shifting into the middle here. So I played on this map a couple times. You know, it ends up every time I play on it, it ends up being a center brawl. So we'll see if that happens on this map for sure. It looks like Duci is opening up with a tank on day 5. We're gonna call this the weak side, 'cause technically it is the weak side, so this side does have access to an airport. And it looks like Alastor7 has decided to also counter with a tank of his own. So we're going to be going tank on tank action over here. Okay, so Duci capping those properties. So we're sitting at 9k right now. 9k is a very good place to be right now for base light. 8k, 9k. Well, base light you will really only do 8k, because then you can get your tank infantry every single day. The sweet spot that you really want to be in base light would probably be... I think it's 17k. So if you manage to get 17k in base light, you're in a pretty good situation because you're able to buy copter, tank, infantry every single turn. That's what you really want to be at. Alright, so Alastor popping up with 2 tanks here. Very, very nice. Duci's most likely going to be opening up with another tank. Yeah, there we go. So another weak side tank and an artillery buy. Very interesting. Lots of people are saying that artillery are not very good in live, but you know, they can be very, very effective. More than anything, the artillery tend to catch people off guard quite a bit because you're not really expecting them. But if you pop in an artillery, well, then it changes the course of the game. You know, you can't really rely on those direct combat wars as much. You get an artillery backing up your front line. It can be very, very good. All right, so Alastor going for the comm tower and actually threatening a cap on one of Duci's cities right here. Actually, this is an uninterruptible cap at the moment. There's pretty much no way that you would be able to dislodge that in order to interrupt that cap. This guy cannot actually reach over the road, and this guy can't reach. The only potential way that you would be able to dislodge this actually would be like a double infantry kill on this, leading into maybe a tank strike, but tank strike would be kind of risky. Like, you could go tank infantry, take this guy out, and then do it with an infantry. You could back up your tank afterwards with another tank, but the reinforcement range is kind of limited here, so it's a little bit sketchy to do so. Okay, very interesting attack right here. So we actually decide to just sort of ignore this by the looks of this here, and we go and attack the infantry that's capping here. So technically this is actually kind of a free hit, but it leaves this tank in a very tricky situation because 2 tanks are able to move in right afterwards. So we'll see what Alastor decides to do here. So goes up and interrupts the comm tower. Not really a bad move for sure. I would much prefer to be able to interrupt the comm tower from the mountain, but I don't think that was actually an option for this guy, so we have to actually interrupt it right there, which is fine, all things considered. We are going to prevent him from getting that plus 10% firepower. And we're going to see what these tanks decide to do here, because this is also kind of an interesting situation. So this tank could go up and attack this tank and get a first strike, and we could back it up with another tank here. However, if we attack this tank, we will have another tank moving in to do another attack from a forest, and just immediate reinforcement from there. So I don't know if Alastor is going to decide to go in and do that attack. Stopping the cap on the comm tower to actually retaliate against the interrupting infantry here, I think that is a pretty good play. We're not going to be able to cap that right away anyways, so you might as well do a little bit of extra damage, forcing that infantry to retreat. However, we do have another infantry primed and ready to go to actually attack here, and then we would be able to bring the artillery up here to back it up. This tank is not going to be able to continue the assault over here, but considering that we have an artillery buy right here, the tank could potentially cause a lot more harassment over here. Wouldn't be able to attack this infantry from this tile right here, but would be able to swoop around to the forest and actually hit this infantry, which might be a good idea. It's a little bit overextended, but I wouldn't consider it a terrible idea for sure. Let's see what Duci decides to do here. So yeah, we go in and attack the infantry. I think that's pretty standard. Definitely destroy the the cap and potential here. Threatening a cap on the lab already on day 8. That is some risky business right now. Now this cap is easily interrupted by no tanks. No tanks, actually. So the only thing that we have to interrupt that cap right now are the 2 injured infantry. So this is that's a situation right there, folks. Very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. So this is actually kind of neat, because this is going to force probably at least 2 of these tanks to swing over here, because we will be able to interrupt with one of them. Like, this guy would be able to go and interrupt here. I guess that would be fine, but that's it. Like, we are forced to actually bring a couple tanks over. Like, we could bring this, no, we have to bring like 2 backline tanks over here, because we have to contend with 1 tank right here. We definitely want 2 tanks to deal with that. Oh, and we bring the other tank over. Okay, interesting. Very, very cool. Now, Alastor and Duci are both actually at 13,000 each. So what's Alastor going to be doing in this situation? So we attack it, and we finish the cap. Okay, so it's very interesting. Very interesting. This is a highly dangerous situation. Alright, so Alastor is going... Okay, we got the artillery in position now. Okay, so that's fine. Yeah, that's actually okay. So now that we have the artillery in position and a couple tanks on the way, it's going to be pretty much fine. I believe that this artillery will be able to pop this guy for like quite a bit. And we have like several other attacks we're able to do. Maybe... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We would have to try to do like a full surround of this unit. Like we would have to bring the artillery over. We'd have to park a tank right here. We'd have to park another tank right here. And then we would have to bring the infantry forward. And we would have to cap. Now if we did that, if we did a full surround, there is actually some potential that it might hold. Interesting. Let's see what Duci decides to do. Duci. I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'm just gonna keep saying Duci. It's fine. Oh, so we don't decide to go in and do it. I wonder. I wonder if it would have been possible. Because we would obviously... Okay, so we would move up. We would kill this guy. This guy would be able to sit there. Artillery would sit right there. Like, what would be the damage we could do? Because we would attack. This guy would probably survive with 1 health. And that's really all we need, right? He just needs 1. Unless we didn't cap. Did we forget to cap? No, we haven't capped yet. No, we're leaving the cap. Oh, no. Well, I guess there's no point now. So we didn't surround it. Like, I feel... Okay. Because this guy wouldn't reach. This guy wouldn't reach. Well, he would reach right... Would he reach? He would reach right there. Okay. So... That would be a 1. 2, 3. Yeah, okay, it wouldn't work. Alright, that's fair. Completely fair. Good awareness right there, folks. Very, very interesting attempt that we did go for that, though. It actually did swing a bunch of units over here, leaving this side quite a bit vulnerable here. Okay, so it is Alastor's turn here at the top of the board. So we cap another property, and we are actually ahead quite a bit on properties now. We're sitting at 17, and the battlecopters have begun popping out here. And Alastor definitely not leaving that lab vulnerable at this moment. Does sense the threat of the HQ caps. So we are going full throttle here. We are full defending that area. Very, very cool. Very, very nice. What do we have available, though? We do have a 2-shot available on this tank right here. Another tank shot right here. Only blocked off by 1 tank. We have a tank over here. It would be very risky to actually go in and attack that. Oh, so we go in and attack it. Okay. I think it's pretty risky to go in for the attack right now. But we are going up. We're capping the comm tower. We do have an interrupt potential here. Interrupt potential here. Tank over here could potentially interrupt. Tank could possibly swing over here too. Now, very neat that we did manage to take out a tank here, but unfortunately it does look like there's quite a bit of counterattack that we can do here. We have this tank right here that could come down and attack this guy. We have an artillery shot on this. And we have, like, these 2 tanks are basically goners with the presence that's here right now. And we can actually swing over a battlecopter, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Won't be in a position where it can immediately assist, but it'll be pretty close. Yeah, so Alastor decides to go in for the attack. Builds the anti-air, very smart. Definitely got to get the anti-air out there. Interrupts the camp going on here, and Duci is now sitting at 15,000 funds per turn. Not really too bad, you know, that does put you in double tank territory. It also puts you in tank anti-air territory for base light, which is also pretty good. If your opponent is spamming out them battlecopters, you want to be able to pump out them anti-air. Alright, doing a little bit of a retreat here, injuring the units but not actually finishing them off. Not quite what you want to do against Andy. You definitely want to be getting those KOs, but this is a free shot. This guy's not actually able to reach over here, so that's perfectly fine. Alastor moving in, taking the shot on the infantry over there on the comm tower, manages to take it out, anti-air blasts in, and basically completely removes that front line over there on Duci's strong front over there, which is very, very nice. Having to retreat a little bit here, doesn't want to be pushing into this, just walking back and reforming the line. This cap looks like it's going to be happening right here. So technically Duci now has 120% firepower on all of his units at the cost of some income per turn. Now, as we all know, 120%, that is the sweet spot for getting 2-hit KOs for units on cities. So that is very, very nice. Moving up with 2 tanks to strike 2 infantry here. Does that put us in range? Doesn't actually put us in range, but it's interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay. Pulling back on the weak side over here, leaving us just 1 out of range. This is actually pretty dangerous territory right here too, because if we know that hyper upgrade is actually coming, we do know that Andy gets a +1 movement bonus. So in situations like this, I would probably advise to actually keep your units like 2 range away from potential threats like this anti-air. Yeah, because it could be very, very dangerous. So we go in, attack the tank, attack the infantry, attack another tank. Oh, and look at this, folks. This is why you need to be incredibly careful when it comes to fighting Andy, because you never know when Andy is going to do something that Ego would normally do and just pop his hyper repair unexpectedly, sacrificing a battlecopter to do so, which actually puts him in an incredibly vulnerable situation right here, allowing this tank to actually move up and strike this tank right here. In addition to that, we have an anti-air now in range of this battlecopter, which is going to just completely wipe that guy off the face of the planet. Now, we do not actually get the KO on this unit right here, which is, it's fine. You don't necessarily need that KO. Choosing to actually not go for the 8 HP unit, pretty smart move, considering that you would just end up with 2 units that are healed next turn, plus another one right here. So this unit would end up being just completely destroyed if that was the case. So very, very smart move by Alastor, I think. In general, I think this co-power was very, very well played, in my opinion here. And just moving up here, and we are actually 2 squares away from range of this anti-air right now, which is very, very nice. I do think Duci is going to be able to pop that hyper upgrade. Pops it after attacking here, which is very nice. A little bit of an advanced tactic. Some people might know about it, some people might not. But, you know, if you have a couple easy hits that you can do with Andy that aren't really going to crazily affect the outcome of the fight, you know, it would be very, very nice to attack first and then pop the hyper upgrade. But the one thing that I have not mentioned so far is Alastor has popped the classy boy into the fray. As you can see here, there is a classy medium tank up north, sitting pretty. What do you even do against a medium tank, folks? It is wild. That's the other thing about the 17k threshold when it comes to these sort of games, is it actually does allow you to buy a medium tank infantry. Whoa. And if your opponent is less than 16,000, let's say as Duci is right here at 15,000, they won't be able to effectively counter a medium tank buy because they can't buy medium tanks themselves. What they could do is they could possibly buy artillery, they could buy battlecopters, and that could potentially ward off the medium tank, but the medium tank is still a massive threat and can be backed up with more tanks and more battlecopters and more artillery and more infantry, and it would just be a complete fleet of destruction led by a medium tank. Alright, so Duci doesn't look like he's given up just yet. Definitely going in and getting a few more attacks here. Very nice. So we managed to take out this guy here. We managed to interrupt the infantry that was capping one of the properties. Left another tank vulnerable, unfortunately. So Alastor definitely taking advantage of that lone tank in the front lines and taking it out. Join capping his infantry. Very, very nice. And actually just moving in a little bit more with these guys over here. Battlecopter is uncontested over here on this side, just chipping away at these tanks and completely surrounding this tank right here. So we are not going to be able to get any effective 2-hit KOs on that guy. So the comm towers are not really working out to our favor at the moment. Rushing ahead to actually hit a backline infantry that could be a potential threat for capping the comm tower here. Little bit of a risky move. Not sure if I would play it that way. Maybe I would. I'm a pretty reckless player, but that is definitely what's going on here. Puts the artillery on a shoal. It does block these guys, but it puts it in range of a battlecopter. But if the battlecopter did go up and attack that, we have a battlecopter anti-air right here. Anti-air is probably about to get deleted here off of the map with these two attacks. Yeah. And medium tank moves in, takes the tank all the way down to 1 with a little cheeky anti-air strike, so that's not too bad. And we get a 3-hit combo on this guy here, managing to take it out. 2 tanks coming in hot right afterwards though, but we do have an anti-air present ready to go. We only have 1 effective attack here though. Moving the artillery onto a city to actually guard this right here. So this is a very nice play right here. We do secure the comm tower for a little while. It looks like we might be able to flip a property, but it's a little sketchy because we would be able to get a 2-hit with the copter tank. Infantry could move in and actually interrupt that right afterwards. So we'll see what Alastor decides to do here. Now we do have a hyper repair ready. I wouldn't say that a hyper repair is necessarily the way to go at the moment. There's not really too many effective heals that you can get from it, but it is available. Just so many copters here from Alastor, so this is very good. Definitely want to be just spamming those copters, especially when you're in a situation where you have a tank advantage, right? If you have a tank advantage, you want to just be spamming the battlecopters because it's going to force your opponent to have to build anti-air. And tanks do counter anti-air very, very well. And the copters are able to just sort of run away. So, yeah, we got the resign right there. Very, very, very cool. Congratulations to both players. I think that was a wonderful game. Alastor, when it comes to this move over here, what was it on day... the day 13 move right here. This move right here was just sealed the deal. If we didn't manage to get that, I believe that this would have been a fairly even game. Still, probably would have ended up resulting in a little bit of a stall, but the fact that we got that +1 movement here and the firepower bonus and heals, we managed to just pull ahead at the sacrifice of like 1 battlecopter and I think a 5 HP tank. We managed to take out their entire front line and get massive positioning on the game. So once again, congratulations to the players. Thought that was fantastic. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live game of the day. We are going to be doing a lot more in the future. So if you enjoyed, consider leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care of yourselves, and bye-bye for now.